Well, we had 3 practices since we've got back, so that gives you the schedule. First day is always travel, all those things that come into play. Not the best day, but as you expect. But today was better, and yesterday was good too. So we're getting there, and we've got to be ready. Obviously, zone is what we worked on these last 2 days specifically, and we'll have some time tomorrow to work on it too as well in some things that we do. But we know what we have to do. We've faced a lot of zone this year, different types of zone, a little bit more 1-3-1, but we play a similar type of zone in Syracuse, so we're practicing against it every day from day one, and so it does prepare us in some ways against it. But we've got to attack it, get offensive rebounds, and limit their transition baskets.
You see the film of them with Mike, Hawkins, coach.
Uh-huh.
Is it any different than what they were doing?
Uh,
Do you see any differences?
Not really. No, I didn't. The rotation, I think they're still kind of finding who exactly they want to be playing at all times. But they're sticking with those same 7 guys mainly, and then the 8 and 9 they're kind of rotating different guys. But I think they're doing the same stuff they've been doing year after year. I think I could compare it more so to what they've done year after year than just these recent games and the earlier games in the season when Coach Boeheim was coaching them. So I wouldn't think there'd be anything too different. I mean, Coach Hopkins played for him, has coached there for a while. I'm thinking he was keeping his eyes open when he's been there all the way through, and so they're just they've got a very skilled team. They've got guards who can play, and they've lost some road games, and it's just interesting. You lose a game or two early in the season, you get written off, and then. With different teams, and every team's gone through that, and really it's just there's so little difference between everybody. I think even so more so this year when you look throughout the country, there's just not a lot of difference, and so we got to see that as an opportunity for us to get better and improve and go forward here, and we know it's a home game that we have to win, and we understand that at the same time. I think it's we put him in position. He's got a good mid-range game. I think we kind of play through him on zone more so than we do with a man and maybe Mike and James. So I think that probably has something to do with it. There's certain spots that we attack that he's good at, and we continue to put him in those spots. So. And he's a good player. I mean, he scores on man, he scores in zone too. But he's done well against the zone because of his ability to play inside and out. I think that has something to do with it. But his passing ability is a big part of our zone attack too, and I think that helps his scoring as well.
Obviously, you still prepare for the 2-3 this week, like you said. But I mean, guys like Mike, Jamel, James, Chris, they've been around. Is there an expectation that they should know what they're doing against that defense at this point?
Well, I mentioned it earlier. We practice against every day. Our zone is about as similar to their zone as it could possibly be, and there's a couple different reasons for it. One, if we were going to have a zone, I figured back then we might as well practice against the one that was being run in our league, whether it be Providence, whether it be Louisville to some degree, and certainly Syracuse. Seton Hall as well ran a similar type zone. So, I think we've always get asked about why we do well against zone. Well, we generally practice against it from day one, and I think it's something we emphasize, we work on, and we put in the time. So I think I don't want I think sometimes teams look at it as we got a zone we got to get ready for in the next 2 days, and we've been working on it for the entire year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the personnel. I mean, you get to go through every guy. Roberson, we recruited heavily when it was talked to him a bunch. We were trying to get. It was the same year we recruited Mike and Jamel, and we were recruiting Roberson. Cooney, remember going in and seeing him and talking with him a couple different times, going in and recruiting him as well. Leiden up there in that area. The other guys are from their area. Leiden, Coleman, those were heavily recruited guys. But they're from up in that area. So, but yeah, familiar with their guys because of that. I think oftentimes they're going to have some guys from Malachi's the guy we recruited too back out of New Jersey. So I think there often is a situation where we know their players and they know our players because they've played against each other in the circuit. They recruit the Philadelphia area. They get a few guys from there, D.C. as well, but then obviously a lot of upstate New York guys.
That said, does that maybe help allow you just to focus on execution?
Well, it probably helps them too, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I think personnel. They're so the way with what they do. They're so personnel driven. You've got to know their tendencies. You got to know what they do, and I think for our guys, we play them twice every year. That has something to do with it. There's a rivalry, obviously, and you're talking about two teams that came from the Big East. There were two of the top teams in the Big East, if not the top two. I know we were one. As far as record, I think they were two, or Connecticut, I'm not sure. But, we played against each other a bunch, and we have great respect for their program.
Every game is big, but home game, first ACC game, Syracuse, how big is this game?
I could go down the list. You can't lose any games. You can't lose any home games. I've made that very clear. And if you want to be the team that you think you can be, but I don't know which, we're going to be saying how big every game is going forward here, but, we've got to play well. I mean, Syracuse probably means more because of the rivalry, first league game, all those different things. But, you can say that about our next game thereafter. We can find some important points of it. But, we need to go we need to go play well, and we need to go play, have a team effort as far as getting, again, different guys. And as I broke from practice today or broke from our meetings, it's just, it's going to be a different guy again. So, the point being every guy's got to be ready, and we're going to have some guy step up and perform. We're playing 11 guys for the most part, and it could be any one of those guys. And I think tomorrow will be a great example of that.
Going off that, you mentioned they have the main 7 guys, and maybe one or two spot minutes here and there. But is that an area that you think really gives you guys an advantage? I know you like your depth against every team, but specifically against them and their small rotation.
We're big man rotation. I think that makes us maybe a little different than some. I think having the 5 guys that we can't, I feel comfortable with all 5. I think that may make us a little bit different than some teams. I mean, other teams just like to play that third perimeter guy at the 1 and 2, or usually playing 5 perimeter guys but I think to us and going forward here, I think that can make us different. Those 5 perimeter, 5 post guys, 5 interior guys. I think that makes us a little different than some other teams.
Have you ever had any conversations with Boeheim about why he's been so married to the zone for so many years?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like why is he just? I mean, you see teams that have their tendencies, and you're a man guy, but you do mix other stuff. It seems like they play zone, and that's the way they play.
Well, it was funny. I was watching I don't know when it was, yesterday or something. It was ESPN Classics, or somehow it was on, and Syracuse was on. And the announcer, and I didn't watch the whole game. It was I don't know what it was, that 88 or 89 or something. But they had that game on. The announcer goes, and Syracuse switches to a zone, and it was a shock by the announcer as he said it, and it made me think and remember back to the fact that they used to be a man-to-man team that played some zone, and now they've become that. So, he's involved. I think the rules have made more teams play zone, and I think he's moved with it. And yeah, I've joked, I've sat with him, I've talked with him. We at different things, whatever it may be. I think everybody knows all the things that we're involved in, the same things, whether it be USA Basketball, the Nike trips. I know I was jotting down a couple things where he was talking about his zone, even though he didn't want to talk about it on a beach in I don't know where we were. I think it was Hawaii or something. I think it was Hawaii, but he used some terms and some phrases that we use now today in our zone that we use, and so yeah, it's just something I think that he's evolved with. I think it's changed over the years how they play it, so it's a different zone today than it was 4 or 5 years ago. I certainly believe that. I know in the meetings that we had, and they were talking about rules, and in the Big East, and they were talking about making the three longer and getting the lane wider. And you had Coach Boeheim and Coach Pitino all saying, yeah, it has to be that way. It's the right thing. And I'm sitting there, okay, why do both these guys that play zone want those? Obviously, it was in their best interest to have a deeper three, a longer three, shorter clock, all those things. So I was smart enough to figure out that everybody has an agenda, and that was theirs. And certainly it is more beneficial to a zone team to do the things that we've headed to, and that's why more teams are playing zone, as we have seen. So and we've played more zone. So, but I think he's he believes in the long term. The zone can't be a short-term thing. You can't play for a couple minutes and get out of it because the team plays three, and that's always his thing. You guys all say you want to sit here and play zone, but as soon as the guy hits a three, you're going to get out of it and go to a man, where you got to stick with it, and over time, they're not going to make a high percentage of threes.
Besides Jamel in the middle, I think Chris Jones had a big game against Syracuse last year. Is that important if they collapse on him, that he kicks it out, you guys have to make those 3 points?
Yeah, I mean, it's like any defense. I mean, you can take away one thing, but it leaves something else open, and that's always been a big part of our offense and our passing and our assists and all the numbers that we have, high shooting percentages, high assists. They can take away one thing, but similar to football, take away the run, you throw the ball, take away the pass, you run it. I mean, that's what we've got to do. So I think that the main thing is we've got to score inside early against it. That's what we continue to emphasize. We don't want to be the team that that's going to rely on jump shooting to beat zones game after game after game. Sure, there's going to be some games where you make some threes and it just doesn't matter what you do. You can throw it around the horn and knock down some threes, and teams have done that against them. But to do it consistently, I think you got to score in a variety of different ways.